The member for Barker. The member for McMahon has been warned. The member for Barker has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister for the Environment and Energy. In light of the recent statewide blackout in South Australia and the importance of energy security, will the Minister outline to the House the advantage of a national approach to electricity market policy, and is the Minister aware of any alternative approaches?
The Minister for the Environment and Energy.
Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Barker for his question and acknowledge that with more food manufacturers than anywhere else in the country, his constituents know well what is the pain of an ill-considered energy policy, because constituents in his electorate are paying nearly double the price of electricity than those just over the border in Victoria, Mr Speaker. Now, whether you are watching a game of cricket under the lights at the MCG or the SCG, whether you live by the beach on the Sunshine Coast or whether you work at the steelworks at Whyalla, you are on the same national electricity grid, Mr Speaker. And for that reason, we need a national approach which will help us stabilise the energy system, create an affordable energy system as we transition to a lower emissions future. But all those hard-won reforms are now at risk by the unilateral action by Labor state governments and a Labor opposition. A 50% target here from federal Labor, a 50% target from Queensland Labor, a 50% target from South Australian Labor and a 40% target from Victorian Labor, Mr Speaker. Now, don't take my word for it. This is the words of the Grattan Institute. The Grattan Institute, quote, "Unilateral action by states or territories is likely to distort the implementation of national policies and increase costs with no net environmental benefit." The Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, representing more than 4 million workers, has said state-based renewable energy targets confuse and distort the market and add costs to consumers without necessarily improving environmental outcomes. And, Mr Speaker, just yesterday we had the Queensland Labor government release a report into its 50% target. But in that report it said remarkably, fancifully, that it would actually lead to no closures of coal generators, even though it projected that coal generation power would go down by a third. It remarkably said this would be cost neutral, even though we know they want to increase by tenfold renewable energy, and also we know that from previous modelling it will cost upwards of $27 billion. And they went against the words of their own Queensland Productivity Commission, who called on the state government to work with the COAG Energy Council as, quote, "an alternative to pursuing independent action." So, Mr Speaker, it's now up to the Leader of the Opposition to stop sacrificing energy security on the altar of his ideology. We all believe in reducing emissions. We all believe in renewable energy. In fact, this Prime Minister has a realistic target of 23.5% by 2020. But what we will not do is compromise the affordability and the energy security of Australians right around the country.